Hey guys, Jake Blow here, the Habitat Pro. We're going to talk tree order and planting information today, how to do your math on evergreen shelter belts, spacing in the row, spacing between rows. Don't I have just a simple per acre calculation I can do? Yes, there is that. And we're also going to give you a real world example today, which we always do, show you how to tweak what's here if you inherited it or bought the property, as well as how to have a do over if you were to plan it differently from the beginning. That's what we always do here. If you appreciate that, please like and subscribe. I will also have order information for those of you near me who like to get in on my truckload order every single season. That's coming up here. Got to order by end of March. Link is in the description. All right, now this particular red box is a 1 acre box. So if you don't want to do any math, you just want to order trees and be done with it, and don't want to put a lot of time into your order calculation, just pause the video, count up these 4 rows, order that many trees, and you're going to have way more than enough. This particular planting is a little too dense. We're going to talk about that here in a second because of the in-row spacing. All right, this particular planting is called a 10 by 20 spacing. That's 10 feet between the trees, 20 feet between the rows. The problem with that is these are spruce. These are not red cedar. They're not a juniper, which can handle touching one another in a multi-row planting. So we're going to lose needles as we get older with this particular planting unless we thin out every other tree in the row so that they don't touch in the row, because they are definitely going to get shaded out by the neighboring rows as they get older. This particular planting right here, then, if we took out every tree on the red slash, that's every other tree in the row, that is 51 trees in this 1/4 acre, 200 trees total. Yes, we're taking out a lot of trees. But if we want those trees to keep their needles all the way to the ground, we have to do it the way this is planted. I will show you a video at the end here to show you what that looks like if you let it go for 40 years, because that happened on a property I manage and it ain't pretty. This particular box then is what we would end up with if we thinned this out, right? So if the white squares were the trees we took out, you can see we would have huge gaps looking from southeast to northwest or southwest to northeast, looking out of and into the property. Into the property for people, out of the property for deer. Either way, it's not good. We would want to stagger this planting from the beginning. And if we did that, it might look something like this. So this is the same in-row spacing, but it is staggered rows. So if we had 20 feet between the trees, which is what we would have to do the way that that particular property is designed, by taking out every other tree, we end up with a 20 by 20 spacing. However, those rows are not staggered. They are lined up. This row is staggered from the others, so we end up with a very solid wall with a very few number of rows. So what's the math on this? If we had the average spruce being 15 to 20 feet across, you can do your math with whatever you wish. If I were using the 20-foot diameter tree here, what that comes out to on this particular rectangle is an 80-foot by 150-foot rectangle, which is about 28 trees. If I took that spacing, 80 times 150, that's 12,000 square feet. If I pull that out to 1 acre, I need to multiply that times 3.6 to get 43,560 feet that is in 1 acre. So I would take this number of circles, 28 times 3.6 on this particular spacing, if it was 20 feet on center in the row and 20 feet between rows, and that would give me my per acre desired spacing for mature spruce trees that I don't want touching until they get mature. That would look like this. Right here is a very good spruce row. You can see there was probably some gaps in here, and some trees got bushy, others stayed fairly columnar. It's a great planting, a great wall, but you can see it did have gaps when the trees were young. Single row spruce plantings sometimes work if they get full sun all the time. However, I wouldn't want to chance losing my needles when trees were 40 feet tall, because then I've lost 4 decades. If I was going to go with a single row planting, I would stick with the juniper family. They are designed to grow together. They are often used as hedges. They don't lose their needles. They grow very thick. This is an 8 by 8 planting. This one will do very well as a shelter belt. And then this one is 6 feet between trees as a single row. It'll also do very well, as the juniper family doesn't mind growing together. When they touch, they do just fine. This is an example of the tree order. Like I said, if you are a neighboring state to Minnesota and you want to get in on my order, the link is in the description down below. I order those once per year. I'm not a greenhouse, so you do have to pick those up. This is Jake Bull, the Habitat Pro. We're in northern Minnesota. Get out and enjoy creation, guys. Good luck this season, and God bless.